Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Incredible guests the world over with amazing insights. They've quite often been through some sort of personal, spiritual journey or transformation. And in the end, they've decided to give service to others. We've had New York Times international bestsellers. We've had a guest from Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. We've had a White House physician to the US president, and just a ton of other amazing, diverse folks from maybe 25, 26 countries now. Quick footnote or housekeeping note. We're booked now to almost the end of November of 2025. That's 300 episodes just about. And while you're here, it's free to subscribe, like, share, comment. And if you're shy, like we've had over 500,000 visitors to the channel, it's okay to be shy. Just do emojis. You're okay. And a lot of this is very participatory. A lot of our guests take steps towards the end of the show. So if you stick around, you might catch the smell of lit sage, flowers, or even take some steps with angels. As always, everything in life is up to you. What will you allow for? And today, coming to us from Massachusetts, an absolutely well-established, fun, professional, intuitive medium, Laura Wooster. She's also the show host of The Intuitive Life, and she loves teaching this stuff to folks. And she's been doing this again a while. Absolutely great bearing about her. And Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for inviting me on. And congratulations on a successful podcast that you have going on. It sounds amazing.
Well, thank you very much. And it's a real treat to have you here. We're honored. Where would you like to start? Because this didn't just start for you like a year ago. When did this all begin? When did you start taking the universe, spirituality, and just listening seriously?
I many years ago, actually, I was a young mother. And that's when actually, I've always had a sense of spirit. I just didn't know what it was at the time when I was a child. And I kind of pushed it all away until I became an adult. And I always thought those things that I was experiencing, energy and seeing people's energy and sensing beings around when I was very young, actually. I thought that was the stuff of childhood. So I just kind of let it go. I stopped thinking about it. I stopped even thinking it was something real as I grew up. And then when I became a mom, things kind of circled back again. I started having those experiences again. Um, just bits and pieces of it were starting to come through. And then I started having, which I think was after my second child, like postpartum depression and anxiety and things like that. So I was trying to deal with that. So I decided to start meditating just as a holistic way to work through that. So after 6 months of meditating for 20 minutes every day, I started hearing dead people talking to me, which I didn't know at the time was what that was. I thought I was actually losing my mind. So, being the inquisitive person I am, and I'm a healthy skeptic. I'm not a cynic, but I'm a healthy skeptic. So I'm like, what's going on here? So just through a process of trying to understand what I was experiencing and understanding if I needed medical help or not, I discovered that most likely the from my research was that I am actually connected to the other side. And at that point, I just started to learn as much as I possibly could to try to understand the energetic world, and the spiritual side of life. And that's how it started. And I haven't stopped since.
Um, the name of the show, or part of the name of the show, is Angels, Positivity, and Love. On the angel front, how do you tackle that topic? How do you describe angels? Do angels exist?
I do think angels exist, but my own personal definition of angels has changed over time. When I first started diving into spiritual awareness and really searching and taking classes on from angelologists and people who really their focus mainly was the angel realm, the angelic realm. Um, at first, I kind of did sort of feel into like, okay, the sort of this human like being as angels, but over time I've gotten to really, I know it's easier for us to sort of relate to them in a way if we see them as humans, if we see them in the human form in some way. But my sense as time has gone on, it's more of a frequency or an aspect of our own personalities that's being reflected in the energetic realm that we exist in as spiritual souls. So I really think it's a energetic aspect of each and every one of us. And each of those aspects has different strengths and different focuses and that we might have in life. And so I know from time to time when I'm going through different things that I might sense different angelic type of energies coming in to help support through those times. And so it just feels like an aspect of each and every one of our beings. And depending on who we are and what we're here to accomplish in life and what we're working through, we may be a little bit more acclimated to that frequency.
Um, is love the fabric of the universe? This isn't an easy question. I think it's an eternal question, but do you have a surefire answer?
I don't. I don't. I do believe love is the frequency of the universe, but how we define love is a whole other thing. We could probably have a whole program just on defining what that frequency of love is, right? My sense is that that unconditional love, that mm, it's it's what I would imagine when you hear people like Anita Morjani talking about when she has a near-death experience, or anybody who's had a near-death experience, they talk about that incredible, overwhelming wave of unconditional acceptance and love and all is well type of um, connection. That's what I expect would be that universal power that we are all connected to in some way.
If we tossed out the entire angel universe, woo 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 spiritual thing, and it was just everything got boiled down to three pieces of advice: where you are today, what you would recommend to your younger self if you could just shave, 10 plus 20 years of learning here. What are the three pieces of advice you tell everybody? Maybe it's to slow their roll, get out of thinking more daily, and just be in their heart. But what's the way Laura Wooster says it to someone?
Oh gosh, yeah, well, it can come through in many different ways depending on where they are, when I'm working with people one to one. But a lot of the same themes that keep coming up, especially when I'm working with younger people just starting out in life and everything. And I think back to when I was just starting out and I was a young mother and everything, but it's trusting that the universe really does want the best for you, that the universe is working in your favor. That's a hard thing to really grasp and understand, I think, for a lot of us, because we oftentimes will put a value of what was the value that was instilled upon us growing up. That's kind of overlaid over that sense of knowing that we're going to be taken care of and that really everything is okay, even with challenges in life and things that may knock us down and really challenge us to wonder why these things happen, that there's still underneath it all is the support of this unconditional love of source or whatever you want, whatever name we want to attach to that. But that's one of the things is trusting that ultimately everything will be okay in spite of any of the challenges we may go through. That's one. The other thing too is that we have we're incredibly dynamic beings that we can change so much in a short amount of time that things that we are experiencing today, the way we feel today, the way that we might be experiencing life at the moment, we can shift that so easily if we allow it to happen. And I'm going to segue into the third one that because you said three, right? And this is kind of a segue into the third, is that it's okay to feel those things that don't feel necessarily positive, because I really think there's especially in the new age woo-woo movement, there's a thing, positive thinking, always positive. And I'm a big proponent of Louise Hay's work. I really believe in it. But it's when we put a positive spin on everything and ignore what we're really feeling, we're avoiding what potentially is the most powerful learning experience that we can have in this life and actually propel us forward, not only in our lives in this lifetime, but also to help heal in other lifetimes and also to help heal those ancestral wounds that get passed down from time, from through generations. So, so I'm a big proponent of positive thinking. Definitely, anybody who knows me, I'm like, I'm pretty damn positive. But I'm really, if someone is trying to avoid those things that really are painful, and through just being positive, I invite them to, get some professional support and dive into it, because those are the greatest gifts I believe that life can actually give us, is when we dive into those really difficult circumstances and we don't ignore it and don't put a positive spin on it.
Hmm. Maybe feel what you feel. Don't judge.
Exactly. Don't judge, and don't and I think a lot of times shame comes up with that as well, depending on what anybody might be dealing with. That's a very difficult thing to face head on, is shame, and our roots from that may come in from whatever we may experienced in childhood, or family of origins, and anything that may have happened along the way that was less than positive. Um, it's allowing ourselves to feel those things and know that it's in the right circumstances, it's safe to feel those things and know that we'll get through it, and then we can gain some insight about the world, about ourselves, and who's parts of our lives, either in this lifetime or in others as well. So it's really powerful, and it's not always easy. And I know that when some clients of mine that really struggle with that, and they had to revisit things over and over and over again over the years, but they're taking baby steps along the way, and I applaud them every step of the way. When they start to really understand why they who they why they are who they are, why they respond the way they do, and also why do they struggle so much. And once they kind of get through that and work through it, not avoiding it, but working through it, life gets easier in a lot of ways, and our perception of what life is and what we can bring to the world gets clearer.
In a little bit, I'm asking you, just like, do you have one of those encounter stories somewhere along your life where it was just serendipity, synchronicity? You got really big help in short notice, but you turn, the stranger's gone. I'm buying you time here because I have a different question. Um,
Okay.
you mentioned a couple of great authors or experts. Anita Morjani, who, thank you for a little review for listening to Angels, my 2014 book, for Anita. You mentioned Louise. Are there other influences along the way? They may not like be today any books that you reach for, but along the way, who have you really appreciated as authors go or experts go out there that you still view as excellent?
Definitely Anita, because she's all about unconditional love, and and her story is amazing. Of course, Louise Hay. And it's funny thing is, I just want to segue a little bit with Louise Hay. When I first started listening to her audiobooks and things like that, I'm a skeptic, but a healthy skeptic. And I'm like, it can't be that easy. Affirmations cannot make your life that easy. It's just not possible. But I did find it did, as I eased into it and allowed, it's a simple process to sort of rewire some of the negative thinking that had really been locked into my own mindset. So yeah, so she's definitely one person as well that I really enjoy her teachings. Carolyn Mace as well. I love Carolyn Mace. Um, Not always the easiest lessons to learn, I feel, from some of the things that she teaches, but some things that are really important to address. I don't feel like, again, I'm not one to sort of brush things under the carpet, and I don't think she is either, is my impression. I met her once and she was lovely, and she was just I don't know, there's something in her presence. I feel like she was probably a nun in a previous life or something. She just has that feeling. But I do love her teachings, and it dives deeper than what and it came at just the right time in my life, her teachings. And so I really appreciate what she brings to the world.
Okay. And again, we're still getting into the angel encounter or some sort of really cool universal encounter, but not yet.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
have you you are at where you're at now, and you have a broader perspective than you just had a year ago or 10 years ago. What do you feel like you've jettisoned, and what do you feel like you've adopted as a broader perspective now?
Um, I've let go of things always happen to be exactly like I let go of having to have the same thing go for years and years and years. That things that have worked for years and years do not have to remain. They can be let go. And that's not just in our personal lives, but also, universally. I'm starting to recognize that more and more, is that in order to evolve, we have to let go of things that may have been part of our circumstances, part of our culture, things like that. So that's something I've noticed is really, really freeing. And when I start to see people embracing that, it's incredible. Things don't always have to be the way they were. And what was the other question? I'm
And
sorry.
what you've been embracing, something that you definitely are like, wow, I'm hanging my hat on this peg, but that peg wasn't even on the wall a year ago.
Yeah. Um, What have I been praised? Well, as a medium, I've been doing this for almost, well, actually over 20 years now. I'm still like all the time re-embracing knowing that spirit is present with us and wants the best for us. And spirit is I'm always re-embracing it in a different way all the time because my experiences has gotten deeper with spirit and the healing that can come through connections with spirit. So that's something it's like I re-embrace all the time. So in a different level as things progress. So
Okay, and on this show, I'm going to plug the show for a second because we've had some incredible guests. Paul Sugar has been on a bunch, but you'll have to find the episode that's coming out um, where he mentions traveling in the Amazon, Peru, Venezuela, and he's in a little Volkswagen Beetle, and he thinks he can cross the river, and he gets stuck. And now his car's flooded, and along comes a bus filled with Volkswagen engineers and the right tools and parts in the middle of nowhere. You and I would be trapped for weeks and have to, march 20 kilometers to find a village. He had the universe step in. It was incredible. But someone else had a similar experience on St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. Check out Vazi Therese Rose Lopez's story of an angel in Sai Baba showing up to fix her car for her. So with that, there's teasers for other shows. There's a lot of good gems, tidbits, just fun stuff you got to chuckle about and be like, no way. What could you share with us? I mean, it could be just walking down Main Street or you had a certain situation in high school. What do you look back now on favorably where you're like, wow, this universe is big. I'm never going to quite grasp it the whole way, especially because of that happened to me.
yeah, there's a couple, actually, I guess there's several of them, probably more than what the show allows for, but I'll talk about two. One that just happened the other day and one that happened several years ago. But so the other day, I was planning to get up early, take my dog into the dog park. And actually, the dog park that I go to has lots of hills and everything. I go up into the woods. It's a hike basically. So I had to plan to do that. So I woke up at the time I planned to, and in the moment, oftentimes I will pick a podcast before I even get out of bed to listen to while I'm having breakfast or making breakfast. So I picked a podcast, I started listening, and the weird thing is like the voices on this podcast were just so low key and like super cool and chill that I actually went back to sleep. I got lulled back to sleep, which was not my plan. So I woke up at like 10 a.m., which is so not, I'm like, what happened? Where did this time go? So then I went downstairs and my dog's down there and she'd already been fed. And so and my father-in-law lives with us and within 5 minutes of me going downstairs and I'm starting to, make my breakfast, he says, "We have a problem." And I look over and my dog's having a seizure, which she's a puppy. She's only a year old. She's never had a seizure. So we ended up taking her to the vet and, getting her checked out. She's in the process of going through testing and everything. However, on the way back from the vet, I was so grateful because if I had gone as planned on the hike, I would have been up in the woods with her when this happened. I would have been probably alone. And so I was just grateful for those voices on that podcast. It was Ray LaMontagne. It was a podcast with Ray LaMontagne. His voice is so chill. He just lulled me right back to sleep before I even get started out of bed. But so he just got this beautiful voice. So anyways, so yeah, so I was grateful for that. I was, and so that's one thing too. Another realization is some things that necessarily it feels like a bad thing at first. Like I was so disappointed. I'm like, oh, I really wanted to get up and get up early before the rain came. I was so disappointed. Then I've come into the realization when these things happen that there's a reason when we get delayed. It's divine delays that happen. And so I know that I have to start trusting that more, even though I was aware of it shortly after why it happened. But the other interaction I had, I don't know if it was if this being divinely guided me in the moment at all, but it was definitely eye-opening. And I was with a group of friends and we went to a kirtan with, I believe it was Deva Pramal in Mitten. I believe that was who it was. anyway, so we were in just outside of Boston at a theater, and we, chanting for like 90 minutes or something. And I'm not one for any kind of hallucinogenics, and nothing wrong with that. It's just not my thing. And so for me to have an altered state that much, like I definitely chanting puts me in that state, whatever that may be. So we went and we chanted for like an hour and a half. It was beautiful, and we're all kind of, riding on cloud nine coming out of the theater. And we walk into Starbucks to grab a coffee or whatever, and I run into the restroom. And as I'm washing my hands in the mirror, I look in the mirror and I see someone staring back at me, and it's not me. Yes. Yeah, right. And I was in an altered state, so I'm like, oh, that's anytime I'm in an altered state, I don't panic. I just kind of like, oh, that's interesting, kind of thing, right? So I see her. She's totally different skin tone than me, totally different hair color, totally different hair, everything. She looked, if I had to really place her somewhere on the continent somewhere, I would guess probably um South American perhaps, or Latin American. I'm not sure. I almost want to say Mayan or Peruvian or something. That's the vibe that I got from her. And she had this most beautiful aura about her, and just this unconditional love pouring off of her energy. And she just smiled back at me in the mirror, and I'm just like looking back at her like, who are you? And it was the wildest thing. And I just kind of finished washing my hands and walked out. And then on the way back to the parking lot, all of a sudden I snapped to, and I said to my friends, "Oh my gosh, I just had this weird thing happen and stuff." And nobody had a clue because I just kind of just walked out of the restroom. So, and I kind of shifted out of the altered state, and it just gave me that sense of like, wow, we really are connected to all beings at all times in whatever time that they came into this realm. We are connected. I'm still trying to sort that out, and it's been many, many, many years, and I'm waiting to meet her again. So can't
Maybe at
wait
the
to.
end of the show, I'm gonna do another plug of another story. There's a Dr. Jonathan Ellerby who is Canyon Ranch spiritual director, PhD, a bunch of books out. Sounds True, I think, is one. Maybe Hay House is another. He was at Althea something center in Denver. Wonderful fellow. He's traveled for I think 30 years, 40 countries or the other way around. He's already been on the show once. His second show coming out January 12th of 2025 tells about his Amazon journey. And he couldn't, the first trip to a remote village, participate and drink anything, like he said about hallucinogenics. But he did stay till 2 a.m. with 3 village elders, but he was invited to come back by them. And he made his way back to that village. And then they prepped him for 4 or 5 days. And then he was in the hole on this one. He had to drink the stuff, and he did the whole thing in a hut. He had 3 of them sitting there with his eyes shut. He felt the presence. I guess it was Jaguar, was what I was guessing when he was describing just a ball of light moving around the whole place. And when the door did open and it was the old men saw the Jaguar, it shared its rainbow light. He just saw a ball light and extra light coming his way. But at the end of the show, we went nuts, and he just sat like this, and he had it all happen over again. But from the way the old man had said the next day, "Did you see the Jaguar? It shared its rainbow light with you." That's what he saw. And he's like, "Oh, I saw it this way." And so he got to re-experience it at the end of the show. So if we blow some sage and have some fun, you never know. But let's put that on the dance card for maybe you can get some answers. You don't have to share anything out loud, but you can just say, "Got it." Um, and I wanted to mention that because he's so fun at storytelling. He's already invited a third time back because he's got more travel stories, Africa, this, indigenous, that. Lakota Sioux, he worked for 11 years with one tribe and a really cool guy. I can't remember his name, but they had him digging trenches for the first couple of years. Then he got taught some ceremonial stuff, and he just knows how to talk all that talk. And you're just, I mean, literally hanging on every word. It's fun to hear him speak, like yourself. Okay, back to the business of the show here. Talk to us just a little bit about auras, seeing energy and light on people. Was there a time you were like, make it stop, or you were like, you shut it down, or is there a time you these days turn it on?
Oh, okay. Well, when I first started experience as a child, I really didn't know it was anything different than what I was supposed to be experiencing, just as I would with my physical eyes and my physical ears, So I didn't really think there was anything wrong with it or anything to want to make it stop. Only when I started realizing that other people couldn't experience what I was experiencing, that I wanted to make it stop. Because I was hearing voices, I was hearing all these things and sensing spirit and seeing shadows of energy in my space, Not it never felt negative to me. It just felt like friends, I didn't but when I started realizing I wasn't supposed to be seeing those things is when I really started to block that out and until I became an adult again. Now with auras and how I experience those, I see auras clairvoyantly around people nowadays, and that's generally how I work when I talk with them on the phone and doing sessions. And when I see their energy, it shows me their strengths. It also shows me some of their challenges, and also what part of where are they in a cycle of life right now, as far as like are they on the verge of a breakthrough? Are they on the verge of maybe some challenges? And almost all the time, people hear it. They understand what I'm talking about when I say what they might be experiencing. But it gives them a tool or a place to start, to dive into, to understand, to not only affirm their strengths and what they've got going forward, but also what they might want to pay attention to, um, and where they might be feeling like what I see the most with people nowadays is just an overextension of their energy. It's a huge, huge thing. And you would think with all of the technology we have and all the things that are available to us that we'd have more energy reserved for our own well-being, which is not the case at all. It's becoming more and more prevalent, as I've noticed with people, is just not having enough time to be okay and with their own spirit. And so that's one thing that I've noticed with connecting with auras recently, and people's energy is the need for people to connect with their own spirit more than ever,
Mm.
in spite of all these technologies that they're supposed to help us free up our time. We just don't seem to have the time or the energy or the bandwidth for that. So and I'm sorry, what was the other question? There was something about.
No, that's good for this. And that's such a good point of emphasis that people just need to make sure they're taking time for self-love, self-care, and sort of recharging the batteries. I've never heard it quite put that way, but it hit home. That is a really important thing. In just a second, we're going to light some sage. It's a staple of the show. You get to smell sage. The audience gets to smell sage, but it could be Germany, Tokyo, South Africa in 2030. And by then, we've got millions of views on this show. We're still small at this point with a huge guest footprint. Thank you to any guests checking this out. Thank you to you for coming on. We're really lucky for a small show to have a really nice group of people coming on. So a little gratitude there. Be sure to like, subscribe, put an emoji down. What have you loved about the show so far? It's okay to just type something. I'm going to light some sage, but you don't have to just smell sage. There's no such thing as time and space. There is, of course, our bill paying side is like, wait a second. Are you kidding? There's time and space. There's no way you can smell sage through two screens, but we do it on every show. I've done it as like a guest on like 75 shows in the last 2.5 years. It's no big shakes. Just allow. Plus, we did it before the show, so we know it's going to work. But you can catch flowers and catch something else. It doesn't have to be ocean from some exotic spot that you either miss or would love to go to. But it gets back to the rub and daily living. What will you allow for? And that is the challenge for all of us. But I'll flip that pancake and say that's our opportunity. Allow for a little more, have a little more fun, a little more sparkle. Okay, Laura, are you ready for this? I'm going to light a lighter. I'm going to light some sage and a red-tailed hawk feather and blow it to you in Massachusetts. You ready?
Sounds great.
Okay.
I'm ready.
And a dad joke for everybody. I'll have to come up with one. Here's one. Do not judge me because Laura's heard a bunch just before the show. What's the only flower found on the human face? Tulips.
Oh, funny.
That is bad. Someone said iris though the other day, so they're a winner too, and that counts. There's two of those.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
quick.
And if you want, if your eyes are shut, you can catch a little bit of light on your eyes. Blame the universe, blame angels, ask them to sock it to you and bring some light with this sage. Let us know when you get both. And catch some flowers if you want to go for a trifecta. I move fast, so sorry for folks hearing me talk this fast and jamming everyone. So, But did you get at least sage, some flowers, some light?
I did.
Yay. Hopefully I didn't forget anything else. That's good. Um, and we'll put one angel up, but get back to talking for just a second.
Sure.
And then let's do it this way. Put up Joy. She's a high, peppy voice. She's an ambassador communicator. She's the emotion joy. She's more cosmic. I think Big Mary said, love is everywhere. Open your eyes to find love. That would be kind of Joy. She's a constant, but our adulting thing pulls us out of that slipstream. We're a little bit like Scrooge, beginning of the book, end of the book. We forget at the beginning, we remember that. Dental floss for a connection to life. But the end of the book, the guy's the biggest joy bringer ever. He's cool. And he still does great business. So that's us. We're Scrooge. Good luck with that. Here's Joy. What's a reminder that she has for all of us? And get just the biggest whooshes that you don't have to tell anybody you're getting.
Got it.
What'd you get?
I keep it to myself.
Oh, you can keep that to yourself. Get something for public consumption, though. She'll give you something new as a reminder for daily living for all of us.
Oh, for all of us. I'm sorry, I missed
Yeah,
that
no,
part.
you got yours. That's good. No, you did great. That's perfect.
Okay. For all of us. Okay. What does Joy want the whole world to know here? All I keep hearing is you are loved. You are loved. You are loved more than you possibly could know.
I like it.
Mm.
I will put up Charlotte for the Starbucks. That'll be a private answer. I have another angel named Mac. Don't call her Mackenzie. She's everything plants, animals, and nature. And I want to make sure she gets a crack at the Starbucks thing for a reason here. But here from Charlotte, one, can you get the answer? And that you can share out loud as a yes or a no for some more detail on Starbucks. You should get a thumbs up. Why not?
Okay.
And just that you can share out loud and be like, yeah, I'm about to get the answer.
Okay.
She's always good at doing the backstory filling in.
Yeah, I got something.
Okay. And then have a private chat with her and don't share any of the details unless there's a packaged version you're allowed to share. But make sure you get your details on who that was, which country origin. Was it Mayan? Was it Peruvian? Was it ancient Egypt? And just say got it out loud when you got the geography down.
Got it.
Oh, cool. And is that one you can share? Would it be definitely Latin America?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then get any other details you need, hear who the person is role-wise and your cheerleading squad of your universal crew.
Cool.
Okay. And then Mac, don't call her Mackenzie. Everything plants, animals, and nature. But the second you told that story, I was like, oh my God, I got to put Mac up. Yeah, she's fun. And here's something about something, and then get something for public consumption from her to us through you.
I just keep saying we need we really do need to sit in nature more and honor nature more, spend more time in nature, wherever that may be. Even in the smallest spaces can invite nature in. That's what I keep hearing. Beautiful.
We have something called cedar trees in Texas. As I'm running, I get encouraged to just reach out and touch a branch as I'm whizzing by. It doesn't matter how if I muffed it or if I get it on the next tree, it's all good. Just say hi to the cedar trees. Trees will talk. Have you talked to trees before?
Oh, yes.
I had to check that box. We had to do it. Okay, got something from it's the movie Celestine Prophecy. I'll put my fingers up and show you my light. You don't have to show yours. But I'll use a background that's like black construction paper. Blue sky is number one. Just, your dog, trees. If you're really just gung-ho, you can just see light. I'm going to make the argument that everyone's just been seeing it the whole time, but the more you're an adult, the more you're just tuning it all out. And the best example is the supermarket. You were going to go get the milk. Two men are arguing. You feel it. The whole navigational system says, you know what? I'll come back. I'll get the vegetables first. Anyhow, they're not refrigerated and they'll be gone and it'll have dissipated by then. But you're rolling more this way than you would ever believe. So I'll try to show light between my fingers. Celestine Prophecy, they did it this way. But we had a guest who was doing the healing stuff in the 70s. And she's like, we were doing it this way before the movie came around. And in India, they do it this way. Not all of India. If it's 40 countries, 2 of the countries in India do it this way. You get another dad joke. That's the cool part of this. And I got it. It's a rabbit joke. And so you'll see my light between my fingers. Why did the rabbit fall down that well?
I don't know.
He didn't see that well. And you'll see white, gold, green, yellow, 5 colors at once, just a steady stream or flow. Just say got it when you got it.
Oh yeah. Yep. Got it.
Okay. And do you mind sharing the color out loud or colors?
I'm seeing a lot of gold
Okay. And then if you,
and
oh,
blue.
yeah, gold and blue. If you want to ask angels to come in and make something extra, you don't have to say it out loud. You can just say got it, but it'll be like something so extra, you know, it's not me. Like we've had hearts, a buffalo, phoenixes, fireworks, sparkles, sparks, pretty much anything.
Seeing feathers.
My God, that was awesome. We've never had anybody see feathers, so
Really?
I'm putting you in the pole position now. Feathers were really creative. That was cool. So,
I'm
and
sorry, I don't know.
ask which angel's taking credit for that out of the ones we've either talked about or one of your crew. Who's taking credit, or is it a bunch of them? Somebody's got to take credit for feathers.
Oh, I'm keep hearing Azrael.
Oh, cool. Okay, awesome.
I don't know what Azrael stands for, so
Azrael, I think, is like a big name guardian angel-ish. I got to think. Zadkiel, Shamiel, Jophiel. So I'm never clear on archangels. I got a couple photos of archangels. It took me years to learn 3 names of archangels because they were so complex. Jophiel, Shamiel, and Zadkiel. But Azrael sounds, it might be another version of Zadkiel.
I'll look
Yeah,
them up.
Zadkiel has like 7 synonym names. I can never track any terminology. I can't pronounce people's names. I'm like the last guy that should be doing any of this, but I'm luckily enthusiastic. So,
I'm gonna write down Azrael. I'm gonna look that up as soon as we get off. Okay,
yeah.
here we go.
Okay, I've got a really easy quote from an angel that I think is really important. It's so basic, but I'd love for you to keep going and run with it. It's an angel that angel named Dale that I might have described when I left an Austin crystal shop. I think we talked about it off air, and I got to see him in human form. He said this: sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment, so too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassion to all, do it.
Sorry, I was listening to what you were saying.
I'll do it again. No, that's good. I've had that happen, deer in headlights for the guests.
I'm like, what?
You're getting the vibe. That's good. Okay, I'm turning beet red too. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion, except on a New York City metro or subway. A smile, I'm kidding. Smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassion to all. Do it. What's your reaction to that?
Reaction to, so you want, what is it that and you need from me?
Yeah, just be compassion to all, kindness, gentleness, just slowing one's roll out of thinking and embracing everyone around you. It doesn't mean you have to start a business with them, but what's your reaction to that type of talk?
They're just, that it's good to pause and just allow a situation to unfold before judging. That's how I would see it. If that's I think that's what you're looking for. I'm not sure that's the feeling I'm getting out of all of this, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, let's do it a different way.
Okay. So I'm a little slow on the uptake today.
No, it's okay. Positivity is abundance. How do you describe letting go more for all of us and walking a smoother path? I know we talked about there's a lot of positive thinking, but how can we get out of our own way daily more? Let's go back to the basics for walking a smoother path on a daily basis.
Getting out of our own, yeah. Well, first of all, I think, I mean, it's not always possible depending on what's going on in life and what responsibilities you have in your life. I know if you're a young parent or you have someone you're taking care of or the people that rely on you, it's not always easy to carve out some time for yourself, but it's really important to even just take 5 minutes a day of just being still and not creating anything, not trying to get something done, not just other than just being there for 5 minutes, whether it be sitting out, touching a tree for 5 minutes or just sitting or hugging a tree for 5 minutes or going for a walk for 5 minutes or whatever. At the bare minimum, I think We all need that. Um, just so that we can get in touch with who we really are, what our soul is trying to tell us before the rest of the world tries to tell us what we need to be thinking or feeling or doing. So I think that's like a really, especially nowadays, it's really important. Just that those 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long, 20-minute meditation. It's great if you can do it. Doesn't have to be a full yoga class. 5 minutes is all you need. So that's the very least of each one of us needs every day, I think. My feeling.
Love it. Is it okay if I put up Audrey Hepburn historical photo Angel? This is a photo that can move for you. Get a private answer, but get something that she's sharing with all of us. She's half grace, half sparkle in the moment. I forgot to do her at all, and she's fun. Um, Here she is in just a second. Folks at home, if you need to clear out a little extra, the only secret sauce I've got for you is just set your intent. Ask the universe to make it nice, help you out of your head, into your heart. Ask angels to help you out of your head, into your heart. Make it nice. But here's her photo. You can catch an uninvented perfume out of Paris in the air. A wink, a smile, the eyebrow goes up. Just say got it when you got a movement in the photo. I'm trying to hold it steady. And here a little reminder, either personally or for all of us. And then if you get it personally, still get something for consumption publicly after that.
Got it. Got it.
Good. And what's her reminder for all of us?
Dance. Dance. And not just dance with physical dance, just dance, like allow your energy to dance with other people, allow to dance with the world. I just feel like so many of us, we're just so closed in. I just felt like that was coming off of her. Just dance, dance, dance. I know she was a dancer. That's something I'm already aware of. But I'm just kind of riffing off of this. What she brought through was that, we so many of us are so empathic and so we absorb so much energy. I see so many people closing down. They're just really pulling into themselves and not interacting with the world in a meaningful way. And it doesn't mean you have to be out and be an extrovert for the rest of your life and do, all day long, but to allow your spirit to dance with other spirits, in some way, even in small ways. And not only not just physically getting up and dancing, which I think is very healing, but also letting our spirit dance. That's really important. I don't think enough of us do that. So,
Ooh, like human to human interaction allows for soul to soul level connection.
exactly. Even if it's just going to the grocery store and and saying hi, that you just happen to be passing in an aisle and say, hi, oh, I love your hat. That's something, just anything, just sort of, that's a spirit dance to me when you interact with people and give, bring a good vibe and an honest, compliment is I think to me, it's a spirit dance. So,
And I love that. And that was the quote earlier, be compassionate to all, do it. A few kind words, a smile. We went full circle.
yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Now I'm gonna one big last topic, and then I'll, anything you want to cover. You're a show host for the Intuitive Life on mindbodyspirit.fm. If before I get to boundaries and absorbing other people's energy, you go to a concert at the mall. A lot of people don't even realize how empathic they are, and how much they're absorbing other people's stuff at the workplace and elsewhere. You've had to deal with that, and you've had to probably deal with it at multiple different like junctures of your life to like get better routines even each time you've grown.
Yeah.
So we're going to want to tackle that. But before that, if people go to your website, or what's the best way they should check you out to sort of circle Laura Wooster before they approach you?
You can just go to my website, laurawooster.com. That's, the best thing to do. Also, I have a lot of videos on Instagram if people want to check out some of the things that I talk about, and also the podcast, which can be connected through my website as well. All of those things can be connected through my website. So laurawooster.com is probably the best place to go.
Yay. Okay, back to boundaries, absorbing people's energy. What's your advice for folks? I would just make the point that there's a lot of people running around who have for decades been absorbing stuff that they just had no idea that they could actually shut the valve off. It's like having a plumbing leak in your cabin, and I didn't even know I owned a cabin, but hey, I got a plumbing leak and I didn't check, and like, whoops, all I had to do was shut the water spigot off.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that when I realized that I didn't have to every interaction, I did not have to absorb other people's energy in order to have that interaction. I was like mind blown. Really, it's like, what? I'm a Cancerian. I just like, yeah, I just gotta, But anyways, but I remember back when I was first really opening up because through meditation and everything, I would just walk in a grocery store would be exhausting, absolutely exhausting. And for obvious reasons. I mean, everybody has to go in there. Everybody's coming in. They all have to be there. A lot of people don't want to be there. There might be some people who do and actually enjoy it, but a lot of people don't want to be there. They have to, think of what they have to do for the week and all that. They're have to's. And then you walk in and it's, like a psychic lint roller and just picking stuff up as you go along. And and I didn't realize I was doing that. And so once I realized that that was what's happening, I started, finding some tools to be able to help that. And one of the most simplest one is just imagining, um, sort of in this clear bubble. Not to block out the world, but to sort of filter the world, the things that are only necessary that you feel or sense around the interactions that you're a part of. But it also, keeps you from those things you don't necessarily have to be a part of. Our brain, our subconscious, picks up so much more than we can consciously realize that we're picking up. And that's just our intuitive selves. We're wired for that. We're wired to pick up multiple, like thousands of signals in every interaction. So for someone who's very empathic or very sensitive, like a Cancerian, like I am, we feel people's energy. We just, because we're natural feelers. So I just find like just bringing that bubble in can make a big difference. Just pulling your aura in a little bit more too, just a little bit, not to block out the world, not to protect yourself from everything and everyone, because you rob yourself of positive interactions as well if you do that. But that's the most simplest and the quickest thing that you can do in order to just filter out those things that aren't necessary for what you're currently dealing with at the moment.
I'm still holding on to psychic lint roller. I love that. That's the coolest expression I have heard all year. I love it. So I hope you use that somewhere really special down the road. Okay. I've got a final exercise. It's let me think what this is. I put a hand up in Texas. You put a hand up in Massachusetts. We connect. I'm going to whoosh you 3 times with rainbow light. We're blaming angels. We're not blaming Canada. It's going to be angels zinging you with rainbow whooshing light. People at home can get the ripple. We'll call it the love factor to the whatever degree. If you want to go big, 111th degree. If you want to go small, just be like, I'll take one ripple. But call it a hug through 2 screens. Here's 3 angels for you. Just here, you've got this. And then if you don't mind saying, I got it. Yeah, cool. And here's my hand, only my highest intent, not my bill paying side or me going back to thinking in half an hour. Um,
So let me put my
so
hand up.
yeah, if you don't mind. And then just do you mind using an adjective to say you're feeling electricity, warmth, feeling, some sort of vibe?
Definitely warmth. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, we check that box. Last thing, it's like ping pong, invisible ping pong ball. You're not going to get hit. I wish once we sandbag and go real small, like those 1970 stereo receivers. We just have the volume really low. The second time, medium. The third time, it's go big, go home. You're already home. We should go big. You can get whooshed. It's Laura Wooster getting whooshed on a show. But it's let rainbow light. If you want to get sparkles on the third one all around the room, glitter. You won't have to vacuum afterwards or call a professional cleaner. It's going to be just universal light. If you want to get it with your eyes shut, you can do both. Like shut your eyes at some point, but make sure you peek a little and see it.
Okay.
What will you allow for at home? And here's a dad joke. She's already heard this one. It's Bert and Ernie Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert.
That's my favorite one.
Okay, good. Here it comes. If you're laughing, you're letting go. That's why I did this stuff. Okay, here we go. Here's the first whoosh. And I'm going to blow to the microphone above my laptop. Catch a little Hawaii in the air, ocean, or the Cape Cod, Outer Banks. And did you get a little whoosh there in Massachusetts?
I did. I felt that come across my desk. Yeah, that was cool.
Second one, medium level, take a couple sandbags away, allow for a little like, I've got some work I got to do tomorrow. I could use some wind in my sails. That's what this is all about. Let angels do their jobs. We're just getting out of the head into the heart. I'll breathe more. Here comes the second one, and a lot more blowing at the microphone up there. So catch a little more Hawaii flowers in the air, something.
Cool. Hmm.
It's a little bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't do it. Blame angels. Hear how you're doing, keep it to yourself, but get a topic where you can get a lot of whooshing right now in the third one. We're going to go big. Hear what you're going to get whooshed on. You're not sharing anything out loud, but give it a fruit name as a code name. So cherries, papaya, watermelon, starfruit, passion fruit. Say your fruit name out loud where you're about to get whooshed. It could be about the automobile, about the book, about the retreat, about the vacation, about your family. Just say a
All
fruit name out loud, and this is what you're going to get extra whooshing for.
right, pineapple.
Perfect. And at home, you might as well do this. Go ahead. And if you have to do a chubby checker or Elvis stand up, I think it's great at the supermarket in front of the avocados. If you ever do a chubby checker and 11 people see you, I guarantee you 10 of them will burst out laughing. You'll start laughing. And 1 + 1 = 11. You'll have made their week or weekend. Okay, here it comes. Third one, go big, go home. You're already home. Here it comes. Could you feel that one a little bit more? Maybe even up the back?
Yeah, I actually felt a vibration in my ears, which is wild. Hmm, interesting.
Yay. Hear from angels, something private. You're not sharing anything out loud on this. We're keeping it really private for you today. This is good. Hear what that was about. Hear who's jumping in and just trying to get you some extra love. At home, you can see symbols on your eyes. Just sit still, follow Laura's advice. Do the 5 minutes of sitting still. I say grab a stuffed animal, a pillow, put on Radiohead song called Lotus Flower. It's 5 minutes even. Great kind of transcendental feel to it, that song Lotus Flower. Put it on repeat, fall asleep, set an iPhone timer though, so it's not 1 hour later, and let the universe fill in the rest. Okay, I'm unbridled enthusiasm, if I can even say that phrase. Laura Wooster, how do you describe yourself for everybody as an expert, as a guide? You're obviously a spiritual guide. Your website's fantastic, but in a fun way. I'm throwing myself under the bus by saying unbridled enthusiasm. I'll admit it. So I get wild at times. I'm just like positivity bubbling over. People just need to take me with a pinch of salt, and bam. How do you describe yourself as you're a very much like to me, you're like a K2 guide. You know, the big mountain is it Nepal, somewhere up there. You're a very steady Eddie guide who's done this. You know how to help people. But how do you describe yourself? You'll never be asked this on another podcast.
No, how do I describe myself? Steady, I guess. I mean, that's what well, I'll just say, a lot of people say that I'm pretty steady and I'm very positive and I'm not afraid to go deep with people. And so if there's an issue, I will say, we need to talk about this. So we need
Because
to
you
talk
get
about
stuff.
this.
Do you,
Communication is really key.
you see the light that way, but do you have angel helpers or light figures or beings of light that are coming in and also just, hey, you need to remember this item is in their storyline? Do you get a direct words coming in that way, or is it more you feel it through the light?
Um, I do think on some level, it's funny. I know that they're there when I'm working with people. I know that their guides are there, and I feel the impression of what their guides are trying to share with me. Do I go, okay, guides, what are you telling me here? It's a community that comes together. It's not anything that I logically say this is happening at the moment, but I know that there's an influence here, that their people, their loved ones, their guides, their ancestors, everybody's coming in to help support the healing and the guidance that they need to move forward. So I know that I just set that intention and it's there.
Mm.
And so I'm just open to the senses and the what I'm feeling and the probability. I think sometimes we just can't see what's possible for ourselves, much like what you just did with me today, because I am like talking about a book. I had a few people, more than a few people, ask me about when's the book coming. I'm like, there's no book coming. I don't know what you're talking
And
about.
just a footnote for everybody, this is what we were talking about before the show. I'm like, where's Laura Wooster's book? And then we spent time on that, making sure that we get out of the mentality. Think of a marathon, 10K, having to just mow the lawn. This is stuff people put off for a month at a pop. And nobody views mowing the lawn as fun. But, you know, there are people who put in the ear pods or AirPods and then do the music, and it's half the time and they actually enjoy it. Thich Nhat Hanh,
Mhm.
pieces every step attitude.
Yeah. That's a good advice.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, Laura Wooster, you're wrapping us up. You're a show host, professional all the way. You know how to wrap up a show. I'm going to buy you time though, because the last question before you throw in anything else after that that you won is what mantra that could fit on a t-shirt or the front of the t-shirt, back of the t-shirt, would you want to leave us with as a daily reminder? I'll start first. Show love always, with a little asterisk saying, good luck with that. Good luck with that, except for 7% of your day. And I'll quote Charlotte. She said, 7% less thinking a day is the Olympic gold medal. And if you flip that pancake, 7% less thinking just means 7% more heart, what you said. 5 minutes, just hug a tree, feet on the grass, love, hug your dog, appreciate something.
Mhm.
Okay, but what's your mantra and what would you want to?
Trust your gut. Absolutely
Oh,
trust your gut. 100%. And I know that's something that people use all the time. People say it all the time, but that's something that I've learned without a doubt over the years is that I always say if my gut is telling me not to do something, if I ignore it and I go against what it's telling me, I guarantee you something's going to happen that I'm going to be like, yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Or so just trust your gut. There's so much information in your intuitive senses and what your body's trying to tell you. So that's my mantra, trust your gut. Yeah.
Laura Wooster, thank you very much for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love. Hopefully, we'll have you back on late 2025 to
Love
share
that.
more wisdom with us.
That would be fabulous. This is a very unique experience. It's been very different. I love it. And this is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.